map of Iceland, and as we come closer you begin to see the 4 big ice caps of Iceland, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Skaftafell is located in the Vatnajökull ice cap. You can get closer, and so these are the glaciers coming from the bigger ice cap mass, and the Skaftafell is somewhere around there. Comes into view. So that's the Skaftafell Glacier, and that's where it's located. It's very close to the ring road, called Ring Road. Just about a couple of kilometers of walk to the edge of the glacier. You can see the edge. So that's the glacier mass. So the access to the glacier is through the Vatnajökull Skaftafell National Park, which is located about 400 kilometers from Reykjavik. It will take about 4 to 5 hours to drive over there to reach there. See the glacier from a distance, the glacier ice mass is coming towards the to the plain flatland before it becomes a river. There's another close-up of the glacier. Our tour guide Brennan from New Zealand, and he's an archaeologist, I believe, and he takes people up the glacier. And it's very important to have a qualified guide. The dangers are everywhere in the glaciers, and so it is very, very important to go with a guide. Glacier walks. You should never go anywhere near a glacier without a proper guide. There's so many dangers lurking around. The edges of the glacier may look like normal ground, but it could be a frozen water on top of it. And if you step into it, and that's it, next thing you know, you've fallen into a frozen pond of water where you could die within half an hour. Next thing is you can slip on the glaciers without proper crampons, so that's a very big danger. Third thing is you can fall into crevices of the glaciers, which could be very deep, and you can get stuck in there. So one should never anywhere go near a glacier without a proper guide. The size of the glacier, when you compare to the people, how small they are in front of it. The whole brown thing actually is covered with mud, really. It's all blue ice underneath. You can see the blue ice into the cave. The large chunk, the black chunk which looks like a crocodile, is actually ice which is broken off from the glacier. These are the ice caps. They look like traffic cones from a distance, but actually they are very large cone of ices, which you're talking about probably the size of two-story building high. So you don't get the size until you get closer to it. From a distance they look very small. Intelligent tour guide Brennan from New Zealand. He was very competent, and he's an archaeologist, I think, and so he's well experienced in taking people to glacier walks. That's him giving us how to cross the bridge. Only 3 people are allowed at a time, so he was standing there to monitor people to make sure only 3 cross at a time. It's flow every few days or sometimes every day, so they need to move the bridge. So that's why this bridge has got a wheel attached to it for changing its positions. Ground it's very dark brown or black in color. The whole of Iceland is a volcanic bed, and the volcanoes are erupting all the time, and the whole of Iceland is just black soil, really. So you could see it here, the black car, how dark it is comparing to the ground around it. And here we are going up to reach the glacier, edge of the glacier. The ground looks very dark, and lots of pebbles driven around. from the volcano, and that's the edge of the glacier. It doesn't look like ice until you go closer. It also looks dark brown in color because of the contamination with the soil. And so we are now closer to the these are a group of people already up there, and by looking at the size of people comparing to the edge, to the surrounding area, you could see how big it is. Next briefing starts. This is about how to wear the ice shoe, which is called crampons. It's basically a platform you wear over your hiking boots, and it has got spikes underneath it. There are 2 at the heels and 4 in the heels, and 1 and 2 at the arch of your foot, then 2 for the ball of the foot, and also 2 at the edge of the foot. And our guide gave us a demonstration how to put on the shoes, and you can see it in the video next.
Inside loop, okay, and then over the top of the boot, so it forms a triangle. Okay, the next step is to thread the strap through both of those rings. Okay, this is a really old sort of a buckle. Okay, split the rings apart, just like that, and then put the strap back through the second ring. Right. That way when you pull it, it'll stay nice and tight. We want to get them reasonably tight up to that kind.
You can see how small people are comparing to the landscape behind, and then that gives you an idea of the size. And these 2 are the 2 guides who are having a banter, and our 2 guide is going to check the track out. He's going on his own now, and you can see the crampons. That's my own crampon, and so it's a spike basically with the 2 spike at the heel, and 2 in the arch, and then I think about 2 in the ball of the foot, and also 1 for the toes. So basically you walk as normally as possible, and kind of stamp your feet a little bit down so that the crampons will go into the ice. Without that, it's not possible to climb the ice at all. It's so slippery. So we are learning to learn the art of glacier walking, which is basically you have to keep your legs apart, because when you keep them together, the crampons, the toe sharp bits will get tangled up. So you need to walk with the legs apart, collects it between the cracks between the 2 glaciers which you're moving apart, and it's very pure water, and it's drinkable, and it looks quite blue, and it's lovely to look at. And also looking down in the glacier to see the glacier waters, which becomes a river. That's a glacier river, and you can see these black spots. They are actually the glacier break-off ices, which are really very, very big, and they're floating around. And then we are beginning to walk forward. Middle of the mountain, and the glaciers look more white in color, and if you go higher up it becomes more blue in color, and now you can see the size of it really. You can begin to see the cones, or how tall they are, and so we are actually planning to go to one of those top cones at this stage. And lots of little water flows everywhere in the glacier. You have to be careful over them, because they form a weak point, and you walk into it, so sometimes it might crack underneath, and suddenly then you're falling into a big crevasse. So it's dangerous to walk on them, so you have to keep away from them. Our guide has gone up to check for a better route, and every day the glacier is slightly different, so you need to find a safer route on every trip. There's no set trip available on glacier walks. Here is Priscilla and her mother and her brother from Singapore. So Priscilla was a very friendly lady who was in the group. and there she is, gleefully enjoying the trip. It's a safe route, and it's coming back to take us all up again. And so you could see the glaciers, the cracks in the glaciers and the crevasses. They're quite deep, and if you fall into it, even if you're on your own, and you pretty much you will be dead within half an hour because of freezing waters, freezing temperatures. And here Brendan has created a footpath for us to climb over, and he showed us how to climb over using the stick. And so more dangerous. You can see more cracks appearing in the glaciers, so we need to stay away from them. Here we are going up using the ice pick to support ourselves, and so some other views of the dangers there. More. These shallow circular spots are created by sunlight, and it kind of tends to melt it in the middle, and it creates like a bowl. And you see lots of them wherever it was facing the sunlight. Putting on a rope so that we could follow him, holding onto. My camera was hanging on my neck, and then I set it on video recording, and then I'm walking on the crumbled ice, and at the end somebody gave me a hand to pull me up and over the top. Here we found some crevasses filled with glacier water, so we managed to get something in our bottle to taste it. It didn't taste anything very much different from our fridge water. It's freezing cold, but nevertheless it was a novelty to drink glacier water when you're up in the glaciers, I guess. That's it. We have reached the maximum point we could climb. Then from that point onwards we have to come down. These are my own crampons. It kind of looks like a devil's shoe when you look from above with the two spikes in front of the shoes.
Just to get them back on your axe, if you put them...
And funny enough, just at the distance, a little bit further down, we could see a cave in the Iron Glacier, which looked like a devil's cave, with this dark brown, shades everywhere. But when you take a close up with a zoom, then you can see beautiful glacier blue sheets inside. But however, from outside, it kind of looked quite ominous. Vehicle, especially made for this kind of terrains. So they are the platform is higher up over the large wheels, and these can take you right up to the edge of the glaciers, whereas the bus cannot. So we came by this bus, something similar to this, but not exactly that. And this is another vehicle which can go up to the edge of the glacier. And we kind of walked about a mile from this spot onwards to get to our bus. And we walked through areas of vegetations. These are interesting little shrubs everywhere. It started raining. The weather became so nasty. And Iceland is very famous for very, very strong, blustery and wild winds, and you can see how strong it is. All the trees, little trees are. I reached a small town called Vik on the way. So this is a typical Icelandic church. It's basically a small house converted into a church with a pointy spire at the top, and with a cross at the top of the spire. You see this kind of little small churches everywhere in Iceland. It's peculiar to Iceland, this kind of little churches.